I'm extremely grateful to the two people who were abused whilst resident at Notfield, who have bared those scars for 40 years, 30 years, and who had brave enough to come and speak in public today. We've spoken with 13 other people, some of them more than once, who've expressed similar emotions. The stress still stays with them. Many of them have found it difficult in terms of relationships. A number of them have taken their own lives. It's just, as you say, an extremely powerful environment, but one which I think the Isle of Man deserves credit for following Mr. Baker's resolution and openly discussing these things rather than being forced to do so as has happened elsewhere.
There are a multitude of things I could draw on to try and ask you about. One thing which stood out for me was Ms. Urquhart this morning sort of said words to the effect that the legal system and the system of safeguarding in place on the island, or perhaps lack of, had failed a generation of children in care. How do you feel on that?
Well, I agree. I felt it necessary to respond to her when she made such powerful points. That I agree. I understand and I believe the people who've been in front of us and who have given us their statements, either in private or today in public. I believe them. I've tried throughout to give them time to talk to us, to listen, and to support them as much as we can. And I think that support has been lacking in the past, and it's long overdue that they received such support.
Mr. Guest then afterwards built upon that and said that the police force on the island had also failed to adequately protect these people, and called for an independent inquiry separate from the police. Is this something which is feasible? Is it something you agree with?
It's not something we've had the opportunity, as you know, the session's just recently finished, so it's not something we've had the opportunity to discuss. But my understanding is the police were very keen to carry forward a prosecution, but the decision was made, and there is a separation between politicians, between the police and between the Attorney General's chambers, rightly so, and that final decision was made in the Attorney General's chambers, and we would like, obviously, the Attorney General to give us the reasons for that. People are very concerned, in particular, because they see prosecutions going on about historic situations in the UK, for example, where people are of a similar age to the person involved in the Isle of Man situation, and so they don't see that as a bar to the person being taken to court. We understand also that he has been in bad health for some time, and maybe that's the reason, but we don't know. We have not had an official response from the Attorney General's chambers, and it'll be something we'll be asking.
What is hoped to come from this on the island?
We, as a parliament, as Tynwald, despite some members voting against, decided that this is something we would investigate ourselves. I think that's exactly the right way to do things. What will happen will obviously flow from the report which we'll issue to Tynwald in due course. It may be that our work will continue beyond the date where we were planning to have our final report, which was July, partly because of evidence given by Kerry Sharp today, who suggested that there might be other areas yet to be unearthed in terms of people who might have been abused in such circumstances in the past, and which hasn't been brought to our attention yet.